My name is Marina, and I'm the meditation guide for this morning. Warm welcome to all of those from the Center for Mindful Living community and Sangha who have been here before, and also a warm welcome if there are any new people tuning in today. So let me begin by just describing what the run of show will be like today. So I plan to have a 30-minute meditation. And the theme will be around the way of the Bodhisattva. And how do you want to show up in the world today? And so after the 30-minute meditation, it'll be lightly guided. We'll have just a short period of stand and stretch. And then I'll provide a short Dharma talk. And then we'll have a discussion or reflection period. And then a closing, a special type of closing as you move on into your day. So once again, a warm welcome for all of you tuning in. And I would like to just begin by offering a grounding meditation. So let's jump right in and finding that comfortable position for your meditation practice today. If you haven't already, find a posture that will support you for a 30-minute practice. No need to look at the time. I'll be doing that for you. So beginning as best as you can, if you're seated, with an upright posture. The head over the shoulders. Softening of the eyes. Tuning into the inner alignment of your body. Sensing a quality of inner dignity, being upright. Tuning in, letting go of everything that you were doing before you got here. And everything you plan to do after this meditation session. You're tuning into a sense of gratitude for showing up today. I'm feeling grateful for this opportunity to guide you and to be here today in this supportive community. Now becoming aware of your heart center. The front body. And just noticing your breath in your body. The natural breathing cycle. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. And breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. Allowing the mind and the body to calm itself through your breath. Through the open heart center. The soft front. Supported by the strong back. The instruction is very simple. Just noticing the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Feeling the breath. Breathing in at the nostrils. And breathing out through the nostrils. Paying attention to the out breath. And seeing if you can notice that natural, slight pause before the body inhales. Tending to your out breath. Noticing the end of each out breath. Allowing your mind to focus on the natural breathing of the body. Perhaps a sense of awe of how the body breathes itself. And as the mind and body settles and calms itself, just noticing the sits bones, the feet on the earth, perhaps a sense of groundedness, stability. This quality of inner alignment and inner dignity with a soft, open, and receptive heart and a strong back. Allowing for a quality of spaciousness, and noticing any tension that remains in the body. And see if you can soften those places, bringing some gentle awareness, compassion, releasing tension. Softening shoulders, neck muscles. Softening the hips and legs and feet. Taking care of yourself is taking care of the world. And just know this. Allowing for more ease, more care in the body mind. Feeling some release of letting go of doing. Move into receiving. Awareness. Steadiness of the mind body in this posture, in this moment. My teacher, Roshi Joan Halifax, shared a type of haiku this week. Simple words. Yet deeply meaningful. Nation is shattered. Mountains and rivers remain. We come to our practice to sit in meditation, upright, soft front, strong back. Not knowing and receiving. Breathing in. I know that I'm breathing in and breathing out. I know that I'm breathing out. As we take good care of our mind and our body, we support the insight of interbeing. What happens to me impacts you. And what happens to you touches me. So we take good care. Everything is connected. And when our mind wanders, as it will, or becomes distracted with the 10,000 myriad things, we can keep coming back to our posture, to our breath, feeling the fullness of each in-breath and each out-breath. And as we sit longer and settle in to the posture, to the stillness, perhaps we can feel a quality of rootedness and a quality of greater spaciousness in and around. And just noticing any tension that remains in the body. And see if you can create a little more space around it. A sense of ease in the body. Taking good care. And touching into the motivation of showing up today. Motivation of sharing your practice with others in community. And perhaps listening to my simple instructions for practice today. Sitting upright with dignity, with awareness, and with an open heart. Appreciating what it means to be human. To feel, to sense, to allow, to breathe as best as you can. This is the gift of life. Now I'll allow silence for the next several minutes, allowing you to tune into your own inner guidance, your own awareness of what's rising and falling. And closing this session with a bell. And a deep bow. Thank you for your practice. Just slowly bringing some movement to your wrists, to your ankles, very slowly when you're ready. And perhaps if you're able, a couple C-curve spine stretches. Very slowly. I think it's also a good time if you wish, just to stand up and do a few cross-body movements or twists, shake things out a little bit. Whatever feels good for you. Coming back when you're ready. I just want to take a look at who's showing up today. Thank you for your practice. See some of you on the camera. Nice to see you. Warm welcome. Since we're recording and we're not showing gallery view, I thought that I would go right into the Dharma talk. And then after the talk, there'll be time, I'll have a reflection question. And then there'll be time for discussion. Really want to hear from you what's alive for you, how did, especially after this morning's meditation practice. And the talk is on being a Bodhisattva and the Three Pure Precepts. And I realize that this may be a new theme for some or many or most of you. And so I'll keep it pretty general. But I landed on this theme as our nation is in a political transition with many of us, including myself, living and working in the Washington, D.C. area. We all may be feeling certain different impacts. And, listening to Sangha members pre and post-election, I do know that we've been giving a lot of offering. Teachers have been talking, do a lot of teachings around this topic in our world, in our lives today. So I've been thinking a lot as well in terms of how may we bring our practice and our practice specifically with suffering and the steps to ease suffering into the world. And how may we be with our feelings of uncertainty, with an open heart, as well as my own feelings of uncertainty, which has led me to ask in the past week or so this question around, what do I really want to spend the rest of my life thinking about and doing? So I started jotting down a list of things. I would like more time to appreciate art, to be in nature, to travel, to focus on my family and my well-being, to garden, to organize my messy office. And I landed upon doing good, being a bodhisattva, if you will, and embracing the vows I took as part of my Zen practice. And for me, this means beginning again and being present. As I was instructing or inviting in the meditation practice, being upright, holding space, showing up, and really leaning on my teachers, my ancestors, in this community. So what is a bodhisattva? So I have a lot of resources around me, books and texts on this topic. And a bodhisattva is a person who has chosen to delay their own enlightenment to help others. And the word bodhisattva comes from Sanskrit words. Bodhi means enlightenment, and sattva, being. So an enlightened being. And bodhisattvas are central figures in Mahayana Buddhism and the Zen lineage in which I practice. And it's an ideal that all may strive to achieve. And the bodhisattva is also a powerful model for our times as we're living in this multitude of crises, from the environmental crisis and climate disruption to the crisis of othering in society and discrimination, to international stability, man-made wars and famine, and to the erosion of democracy as authoritarianism grows in many countries. And so I'm just inviting us to take a moment to reflect on how these world crises affect you. And the question of, how does your practice help? And we'll come back to this question in our discussion as a reflection. And so going back to the essence of bodhisattva, being bodhisattva, is connecting our inner work, our meditation, our insight practice here at the Center for Mindful Living with our outer response of how we show up in the world, and vice versa. How what is happening in our lives and in the world around us influences our inner work. And we often sit to expand our capacity to show up. This virtuous cycle has been important for me throughout my life. Now, I was an advocate before I was a meditator. And just part of my own personal pathway, my story is I was seriously drawn to the practice of meditation after, I would say, burning out from work in international development. And this was in 2017. And I actually took some time off from work to do some consulting. Took about a year off. And I also knew that I needed to find more balance in my life, more equanimity, if I was going to be effective in my work in international development. And I knew that I needed to do more inner work, to slow down, to rest, and to not be so attached to outcomes. And this is still very much work in progress for me. The last day of my job, I was a democracy fellow at USAID in 2017. It was also my birthday. And Amma, some of you may be familiar with her. She's the hugging saint. And she was in town. She was in Washington. And I really knew nothing about her. But on a whim, I gathered up a couple friends and I went and I received a hug from this woman, from this saint. And it was great. A week later, I found myself sitting for the first time in a 10-day Vipassana silent retreat. And I've sought ways to deepen my practice ever since. In 2021, I enrolled in a socially engaged Buddhism year-long course at the Upaya Zen Center in Santa Fe. And I was placed in a small cohort with Roshi Joan Halifax. And this opened, as I've talked about, I think, several times in this space, this really opened the world of Zen practice and rituals to me. And I think I was drawn to Upaya Zen Center because it's well known for its commitment to engaged Buddhism, which is based on the realization of this interdependence of all life, and also the great vows of the Bodhisattva. So engaged Buddhism may be defined as the intention to apply the values and teachings of Buddhism to the problems of society in a nonviolent way, and motivated by concern for the welfare of others, and as an expression of one's own practice in this Buddhist way. So as part of my practice at Upaya, I took the Bodhisattva vows, which is a commitment to dedicate one's life to the benefit of all beings. And what I wanted to share with you today is just a little bit about the Bodhisattva vows and how it's also a way of expressing the Four Noble Truths. If you really, and I'll share what the vows are, and after I share a reminder of the Four Noble Truths. First is the truth of suffering. Second, the truth of the causes of suffering. And then third, the truth of the end of suffering. And then fourth, the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. And the Bodhisattva vows, as chanted at Upaya, are the following. So the first one is creations. Go and got in the hands together. That creations are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless. I vow to perceive it. And the awakened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. So these vows are chanted daily in Zen centers. They're chanted, the verse is chanted 3 times. And they're intended to be inspirational. They're meant to liberate the practitioner from depending on outcomes. Instead, the practitioner finds meaning in the act of vowing and doing. going out into the world as a discipline, and to act in ways that serve others. And you can also see how these vows align with secular forms of generosity and patience and goodwill toward others. Shohaku Okumura writes in Living by Vow, and this is a book that was required reading as I was studying the Bodhisattva vows. And he writes, the 4 Bodhisattva vows are an essential point, not just in our practice of zazen or meditation, but also in our day-to-day lives. Each of us has a job or a family, and in each situation, we try to practice the 4 Noble Truths and the 4 Bodhisattva vows. Our practice is the whole of our life, not something special that we do only in the monastery or at sesshin or retreat. Those are important parts of our practice, but the Buddha taught us to just awaken to the reality of our lives and live on the basis of that reality. We have to live right now, right here, with this body and mind, and in the company of others. The guiding force, the compass that leads us to live out this reality is the Bodhisattva vows. I also thought in this talk it would be helpful just to mention the 3 pure precepts that go along as ethical guidelines to help us keep these Bodhisattva vows. And I don't want to get too complicated. I'm just going to begin and share with the 3 pure precepts. And those are: do no harm, do good, and do good for others. So as I mentioned, these precepts are part of the Bodhisattva practice, and they're considered to be the aspiration of everyone who takes the Bodhisattva vows. They're intended to help realize enlightenment in everyday life. And these precepts are meant to be actions and not intellectual exercises. And practicing them can help avoid the causes of suffering for ourselves and for others. So the 3 pure precept vows go like this: do no harm. I vow not to harm others or myself, and to live in not knowing as the source of all manifestations. The second is do good. I vow to bear witness to the joys and pain of all life and clearly see what is without attachment or judgment. The third is do good for others. I vow to invite all the hungry spirits into my life. Hungry spirits are those suffering from jealousy, greed, delusion, and commit my energy and love to the healing of the earth, humanity, and all beings. So just taking another deep breath and just allowing those words to sink in a bit. And seeing what resonates, if anything, with you. And now I would like to do the reflection part. So, and if you're able to do that and choose to do that, I want to share with you, just 1 second, some words on walking meditation from Thich Nhat Hanh, right? Peace in every step. So Thich Nhat Hanh also thought of the earth as a bodhisattva, a great and compassionate being, the earth. And he said, a bodhisattva is a being who has awakening, understanding, and love. Any living being who has awakening, peace, understanding, and love can be called a bodhisattva. It doesn't have to be a human being. When we look into a tree, we see the tree is fresh, it nourishes life, and it offers shade and beauty. It's a place of refuge for so many birds and creatures. And so this is still Thich Nhat Hanh, his words. A bodhisattva is not something that is up in the clouds, far away from us. Bodhisattvas are all around us. A young person who has love, who has freshness, who has understanding, who offers us a lot of happiness is a bodhisattva. The pine tree standing in the garden gives us joy, offers us oxygen, and makes life more beautiful. When we say that earth is a beautiful bodhisattva, this is not our imagination. It is a fact that the earth is giving life, and she is very beautiful. The bodhisattva is not a separate spirit inhabiting the earth. We should transcend that idea. And so, as you take your 15 minutes or longer and go outside at some point and do a walking meditation, I highly recommend that you do it around nature and you do it without, any things in your ears. And just try thinking of peace in every step. And so some final words from Thich Nhat Hanh. When we take mindful steps on the earth, our body and our mind unite, and we unite with the earth. The earth gave birth to us, and the earth will receive us again. Nothing is lost. Nothing is born. Nothing dies. We don't need to wait until after our body has disintegrated to go back to Mother Earth. We are going back to Mother Earth at every moment. Whenever we breathe, whenever we step, we are returning to the earth. And thank you for your practice.